Do you remember the 2019 Japanese Grand Prix? No? So let me explain. So first of all, we had qualifying on Sunday morning, just 4 hours before the race, because on Saturday it was just raining cats and dogs and there were no cars on track. In qualifying 1, Robert Kubica crashed his car in the final corner just at the start of his first push lap in Q1. Just a couple of minutes later, Magnussen decided to do almost the same, lost the car in the final corner and crashed. In Q3 then, Sebastian Vettel scored an excellent pole position before his teammate Charles Leclerc, so the best outcome for Ferrari for the race, which will happen just in about 3 hours after qualifying. So let's move to the onboard of Sebastian Vettel and watch his start. 5 red lights are on and he went before the lights went off. A possible jump start for Sebastian Vettel, and just a couple of meters later, Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes starting from P3 has already passed him. So let's watch Vettel start in a little bit more detail, and this is now the first frame when he moved, and as you can see the red lights are still on, and as we continue there are 13 frames in between until the red lights really turn off. And as this is a 60 frames per second footage, we can say that he moved about 0.2 seconds or 0.2 of a second too early until the red lights really turned off. But the stewards later on in the race decided no further action for Sebastian Vettel's possible false start. And this is because there's a sensor at the very top of the white line which marks the grid box. But Sebastian Vettel was quite far behind in his starting grid, and when he jumped the start, he's still behind this white line where the sensor sits. So the sensor did not recognize a movement of his car, and when the red lights really turned off, he was stationary, not moving, so there's no point in giving him a penalty. But how did it look from the cars behind Vettel? We start with Bottas in P3, but as you can see on the footage from the camera, it's quite hard to see that Vettel is moving, but you can just see it. And I wonder if Bottas is a little bit reacting to Sebastian Vettel, because when we now look at when the lights turn off, which is this frame, his finger on his left hand is moving exactly at the same frame. I guess that's the point when he's releasing the clutch, which makes a perfect start for him. And as we continue, it's only 5 frames until his tire starts moving. So it's an excellent start from Bottas. And 5 frames in this 60 frames per second video is less than 1/10 of a second. So either his reaction for this start was on point, or he was reacting to Sebastian Vettel, which then gave him the perfect start ever, because most of the times the reactions for drivers in F1 is between 2 and 3/10 of a second to lights out. So he just went past both Ferraris in the first, 100 meters. He then just went on to win the race easy with a margin of 11 seconds to Vettel in P2 behind, who just hold off Lewis Hamilton on an alternate strategy in P3 behind. But what happened to Charles Leclerc, and why was he lapped by Valtteri Bottas? From his onboard you can see really good how much Vettel was moving and that it wasn't too much. But I'm wondering if he was quite confused by the start of Vettel, because his reaction time took 24 frames, which is about 4.5 of a second, which is below average for F1 drivers. While battling Verstappen in turn 2, they crashed, damaging Leclerc's front wing end plate and attachment to his rear wing mirror on the left side.
Oh, got damage.
Leclerc decided to stay out with his end plate scrapping around the tire mag. Then he went on to almost kill Lewis Hamilton with his end plate, went on to hit Lewis Hamilton, leaving thousands of pieces of carbon fiber on the track. Hamilton tried to avoid the debris but was hit and lost his right mirror.
Shit came up, lost the wing mirror.
Then, when his fronting was okay with no loose parts, they decided to stop him and put him into traffic. He only had to drive with one hand at the back straight to 130R to keep his mirror in place, turned on into 130R with only one hand, just to lose his mirror there one lap later and finish in P6. What a masterpiece. Please let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below, and then I will see you soon. Bye bye.